We would like to begin with a great big welcome. This is incredibly hardcore of you to be out here the day after Halloween. When you're in education, Halloween is a big deal, whether you want it to be or not, and it is a bit of a challenge to get up the next day and come forward and learn, but we're very excited to have you here. So I'm Liz Walhoff. I'm Director of Educational Innovation for Douglas County School District. So we wanted to start our fall conference by hearing from our stakeholders, so our students. So what I have asked that these students do, and they've very generously volunteered their time, including Miss Kayla, who is picked up from a sleepover this morning to come here. So if we are all tired, just imagine that. So we'd like to begin, and I asked them to be willing to speak to one of two questions. The first question option would be, what helps you learn? So what gets you most excited about learning? What helps you learn? The second question is, what do you most need from your teachers? And our panelists have chosen to speak to one, the other, or possibly both of them. So what I've asked that they do, just to get us started off by hearing from the heart of our kids from their own mouths, is to tell us who they are, what school they're from, and I'll talk a little bit with each one of them, and they'll share their answers. We'll move on down the row as we go, and then at the end, if time permits, we'd like to open up the floor. If they have said anything that you want to follow up on, feel free to ask questions. They're wonderful, wonderful kiddos and a great representation of our fantastic students that we have here in DCST. So are you ready? Yeah. All right, let's get started. So to begin with, why don't you tell us your name, what grade you're in, and then I'll ask you a little bit about the question that you chose to answer.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Francesca Dino, and I am a senior this year.
Excellent. And Francesca, did you want to talk about what gets you excited and motivated to learn, or what you need from your teachers?
I'm going to talk about my teachers.
Excellent. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I picked out some stories I wanted to share to talk about what I wanted in a teacher. So one of the things I've always really loved is passion. I know where I go to school, I've been very blessed to have some very passionate teachers who, it's more than just teaching the kids, it's part of their lifestyle. And I'm very grateful for that. One of my teachers I know, he was my APUS history teacher, and he is my sociology teacher currently. So I've been lucky to have him for 2 years. And I know that he always tries to bring outside events into the classroom and stuff like that he can talk about, and something that he always goes on about and can bring into the classroom is always something that I really enjoy. And another thing I really enjoy with teachers that I always look for is someone who is really willing to be more of a mentor to you. I remember, I think it was last year, I had an issue with my computer, and I went to one of my friends in a program we have at our school called SAINTS, which stands for Student Assistant in Technology, which is something unique to our school, and I'm very lucky to be a part of. And he said, well, I'm going to try and figure this out. I have a teacher that I'm with, and I ended up meeting this teacher through that. And I still remember this conversation we first had about the 40,000-foot view he was trying to get with us, to be able to look into technology and to understand that there's a lot of parts of it, and to have that base so that I can go off and figure out what I want to do from there. So now I'm happy to say I'm still with him. I'm part of that program now myself after I had my own issue with my computer, and I am even looking into computer sciences. That's my major at my college next year, hopefully. So I'm very grateful for that, and that's definitely some of the two things that have really impacted me with teachers over the past few years. Excuse me.
Oh, you did just a great job. Let's give her a hand. So Francesca, I'm going to give away a little bit of a secret that I know I asked you not to mention earlier. But I just have to give a shout out to Ponderosa High School and Mr. Daryl Kim for the Saints program that they have. And you said you're in 12th grade, right? Which is why you're thinking about your major for next year. And if I heard you correctly, passion and the teachers feeling passionate about you and also caring about you and being willing to mentor you, those are things that speak very, very well to you.
Yes, that is. Thank you.
Excellent. Great job. Miss Kayla, could you tell us your name, your grade? If you want to share your school, feel free.
So I'm Kayla Blair. I'm a 7th grader at Sierra Middle School.
And then Miss Kayla, because you're a little bit soft-spoken, will you make sure to hold your mic up close to your mouth?
Absolutely.
And then the question I have for you, well, what I'm wondering is, which question were you interested in answering? What motivates you to learn, or what do you need from your teachers?
I answered the question, what do I need from a teacher?
Tell us about that.
So I learn better using different methods. So one way is instead of taking a test at the end of like a quarter or a semester about what we've learned, I learn better by doing a lot more projects, dioramas, poster boards, science experiments, that kind of stuff. And I'm fine with either group projects or like individual projects, but I usually like to have a balance of both. And I also like it when the teacher allows us to either have a voice in what goes in the rubric, or we can add something that we think is special about our project into the rubric. And then getting the information in, taking notes, that kind of stuff. I really need to have some visual aids. So like when we were learning about the cell cycle in science, my teacher didn't just tell us, this is what happens in the first stage, this is what happens in the third stage. He gave us pictures, which really helped me understand and remember for when we did have a test or the project. I also really need to have a good use of technology. I want to use it a lot, but I also want to explore brand new sites, brand new tools to add on to those sites. I really want to learn more. I just don't want to continually do the same sort of stuff without learning anything new. So for like Google Sites, I didn't know that Sierra gave a template for the sites. And that was something brand new to me, and I really like it. It's a lot easier to make my site, and it makes my site a lot better. So that's really what I need from a teacher.
What a great answer. Now, just for you all, in terms of context, the reason that I'm asking these things is that I want you to have these in mind as you're going into your sessions today, to be thinking, obviously, these are just a few voices, but they are representative of some of our learners, and they will be representative of some of the learners that you have and that you work with, whether they be kids or adults. And so one of the things that I heard from you, Kayla, is that you appreciate the use of visuals, that you like things that are new and novel, even though you like technology, it can't always be the same every time, and that you also enjoy being able to put a little bit of yourself into your work. That you don't like having things always be group work, always be individual, or always be all dictated by your teacher. You want to be able to put some of yourself in there. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Jacob, our lone man on the committee, thank you for being here. Will you tell us, tell us your name, because I'm not sure if you go by Jacob or Jake.
I'm Jake Blair,
Okay,
fourth grader at Prairie Crossing Elementary.
excellent. And Jake, what question did you choose to answer?
What inspires you to learn?
Excellent. Can you tell us about that?
So, to me, learning is about things that are fun and things that are simple once you have it down and you know what it is, so that way you can do it faster. And then the ways that you get to share your learning is exciting, and learning new information and doing research on new topics. So my fourth grade class and all of fourth grade at Prairie Crossing Elementary is doing Genius Hour, and it lets us be in control of our learning. So we get to pick our topic and how we will learn about it and how we will share our learnings. And then we also have a chart of 21st century tools, which has Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sites, Glogster, and Poplet. And then we are also learning about world-class outcomes, and they're basically for everything that everyone in the class does something in the class.
So I think one of the things that I'm noticing that you really seem to like is being able to make some choices on your own as far as what you're interested in.
Yes.
And you, I think I also heard you say that you like taking something new and being able to go deep with it so that you become really good at it.
Yes.
Yeah? Should I tell people that you're related to somebody sitting by you, or would you rather have that be a secret?
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, tell them.
I'm just noticing some similarity in these siblings that just spoke, as far as both of them enjoying having some of that ownership in their learning and not necessarily needing a teacher to tell them what they're interested in or what to do with that. You seem like you're able to choose some of those topics, and it really helps when you can personalize what you're learning. Excellent. Thank you, Jake. So tell us about yourself.
All right, my name is Layla Ranishek. I'm an 8th grader at Rocky Heights Middle School.
And I just think that it's really unfair that you're in 8th grade and you're the height that you are already. I was telling your mom that I think we need to put a brick on your head. You're getting a little bit too tall. But tell us, did you choose to answer one or both questions?
Just one.
Just one. Which one were you interested in?
What I need most from teachers.
Please tell me about that. What do you need?
What I need most from teachers is, I think, what a lot of what teachers need from us as their students: a mutual sense of respect, creativity, and consistency. I'm always ecstatic when I get a teacher that is respectful of our time while we're in the class. They not only give us time to work on stuff, and they make the time short, and they realize that we do have extracurricular stuff. Maximization of time in the classroom is amazing, and I'm glad that a lot of teachers already do this. Also, creativity on the teacher's part is huge. I don't mean like making all the lessons related to something else or giving projects in lieu of tests, even though those are good. But I mean more like making lessons fun and creative. There was one teacher that I had, my current history teacher, and we were learning about taxation without representation in the colonies. And one of the things that she did was she came in and she said, okay, today we have a really important message. It's from our principal. And it said that for each photocopy piece of paper that we had, we would have to pay 10 cents. And the whole class got outraged. People were making petitions. They were wanting to go down to the office. And at the end of the lesson, she said, okay, so this is what it would feel like if you were in the colonies and you had been taxed without representation. I mean, just relating something like that and making it relatable to what we are learning, I think that's one of the best things that we can do so that kids can learn. Also, I mean, it can be as simple as just being excited for what's being taught. That excitement that teachers have for what they're teaching is really contagious, and it just makes the students more open to learning as a whole. Also, recognition and encouragement helps to inspire a thirst for knowledge. Just showing interest in students' lives will make the students a lot more open to you as well. The kids will be like more just wanting to hear from you and wanting to go to your class every day. I mean, just making a personal connection, knowing that they're there, knowing who they are and what they're like, that's amazing, and that's one of the things I need most from my teachers.
Wow. So I heard something interesting from you that I hadn't heard from Kayla and Jacob, but I did hear a little bit from you as well. It sounds like something that really motivates you is teachers having an understanding that you have a life outside of the classroom, and that also you have value as a learner within the classroom. And so connecting with you on that personal level is pretty important. This doesn't mean I'm digging into your business all the time, but it's showing that I care and that I'm empathetic as your teacher to knowing, hey, if I use my time this way in the classroom, and then we run over and it bleeds into your other tasks that you have to do or your other interests that you have, that might not really be very fair. And so considering that, am I taking that too far, or is that kind of what you were thinking of? Help me understand.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking of. I mean, allowing us to have work time in class just so that we don't have hours of homework each night or stress throughout the day for other tests, other projects, that's amazing. I mean, just giving us class time and, you know, letting us know that, hey, we do realize that time is precious, and we're going to try to give you as much as we can.
But I didn't hear from you that you were expecting people just to be slacking. One of the things that I love is that you're talking about when those teachers engage you in different, unique, and interesting ways where they put you in the shoes of somebody who's experiencing something in the past and can get you really intrigued in it. Then that you'll work really hard and use that class time really well. Am I right, or am I just making stuff up? Because sometimes I think I hear things, but it's just, kind of what I was thinking and not necessarily what you said. So, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's go on down the row.
Hi, I'm Alana, and I'm a sophomore at Rock Canyon High School.
Hi, Alana.
Hi.
And Alana, I think you answered both questions, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Can you tell me about what your answers were?
Sure, okay. I am an overachiever and a diligent worker and a dedicated student. I'm presenting because I have a story to tell, not because I love public speaking, so please bear with me. I wrote this speech exactly how I wanted it to sound. I'm going to read what I wrote because I didn't want to just make myself a bulleted list and hope for the best. I like going to school, which is a good thing because it takes up most of my waking hours. I'm in all honors and AP classes, so I don't have a lot of free time. I continue to do my best work despite the stress because I have a good work ethic and a powerfully vocal conscience. I learn because I have a deep-rooted curiosity and I like to be the one to know things. During dinners with my family, the phrase, "Did you know?" can be heard quite often. I like to apply what I learn at school into my conversations, and my friends do too, so it works. My family listens patiently while I explain peristalsis and how enzymes work while we're eating. And now you're probably all thinking, wow, she's that kid. And yes, I am that kid who takes in a teacher's every word and remembers the important aspects of a lecture, as well as some strange bits. And I like lectures for that quality. I'm an auditory learner, so listening to a teacher talk is the best type of lesson for me. And that transitions quite nicely to my next bit about what do I need from teachers as a student. The first thing I'll mention is that I understand the 4 C's and I see their value. However, as you might have already picked up on, I'm an introvert. I don't love group projects. Sometimes I'd rather have quiet time than share time, and a lot of times I'd rather write a 20-page paper than do a Socratic seminar. Once again, I see the value in all these extroverted activities, but one thing I appreciate from teachers is variation. My English teacher this year is really attuned to variation and how much it's needed from students. She assigns different types of reading journals every time we read a new book. She lets us read and annotate sometimes and watch a video and take notes other times. And my favorite is when she breaks up long lessons with little bits of yoga. One time we were reading and annotating an epic poem, not one of my favorite parts of English, and we took a yoga break in the middle of class. And afterwards, I found myself a lot more open and exciting to keep going. It might be a little daunting to hear this, but for me, why I like a class is 90% the teacher and 10% the subject. That's why I hate the question, what's your favorite subject? Because it changes every year. Last year, I had a great AP Human Geography teacher, and even though it's the hardest class I've ever taken, I enjoyed when I went to her class, and I looked forward to it. When a teacher is enthusiastic and happy, I'm enthusiastic and happy. My anatomy and physiology teacher this year is probably one of the happiest adults I've ever known, and as a result, even though I feel like I'm drinking out of a fire hydrant at times, I'm happy in her class. She makes every lesson exciting because she's excited about it. It's amazing how much the mood of the class is affected by a teacher, and every time I walk into anatomy, even when it smells like formaldehyde, the mood is happy and airy, pun intended. Teachers have a very hard and important job, and I see it every day. I work hard because I see my teachers work hard. Through the years, I've had some great teachers who I'm proud to call my role models. Okay, thank you.
Just on a personal note, as the mom of an introvert as well, one out of the 4, the other 3 not so much on the introvert, I really appreciate the energy that it probably took you to be here and do this. And that's probably true for several of you. But it's really important that we hear from that too. Because as you said, I think when we start talking about the 4 C's, I think sometimes we as teachers tend to skew towards extroversion, honestly. and putting people in groups a lot, because that is a reality, but it's not the only reality. So I appreciate hearing from you. Thank you for being willing to do that. So you like it when people are happy and excited about what they're doing? Yeah. I agree. I get to work with some people who are happy and excited about what they're doing, and it is contagious, and I appreciate it. I get to work with a whole lot of people who are happy and excited about what they're doing, and I think a lot of them are here today. So, my happy and excited people, do you have any questions for these phenomenally articulate people? And before we do that, let's give them one more hand, because they are amazing. So what questions might you have just from the teacher perspective? I asked, we talked with these students, Brandon and I talked with these students in particular because we were interested in getting the student perspective, but we also knew that these learners in particular have a gift with communicating with us as adults in a positive fashion. So they can share what's going on in the student mind without it being stressful or frightening for us, I think. Not that you ever feel that way, but perhaps sometimes I do. Maybe I'm putting myself in your shoes incorrectly. But we have this golden opportunity. Let's ask them some questions. What's on your mind as you hear them speak? Please, and I'll repeat your question.
How do you view the students in your classrooms that aren't, the classroom is not their space. The classroom is outside. The classroom is hands-on tools. The classroom is different learning styles, learning intelligence system, modalities, etc. How do you see those students interacting with technology, interpersonal skills, etc.?
So does your question really get to what do these students see as the way to engage those students for whom the traditional classroom is not their native environment for learning?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So what's your advice? And I have one of these in my family. For the student who learns better through doing things outside of the traditional classroom, what advice would you have for us as their teachers to reach them when they are in that classroom space? How can we make it a friendly space for them to learn? Did I take that in the wrong direction? Okay, you can tell me. All right. Is there anyone who'd like to take that? Jacob's like, meh.
So I guess one of the things, I keep bringing up science because it's my absolute favorite subject, because one of the most awesome teachers is in the classroom. And for like science, we're learning about genetics now. And so there are some kids in my class who are squirrely, they don't really like school, they're those types of kids. So he lets us watch videos, about cloning and what's going on with cloning. He tells us about brand new kind of awesome types of science because it's always being changed every single day. So like one of the coolest parts and the funniest parts was he told us that the chicken is the closest related living animal to a dinosaur. So they were taking dinosaur DNA and implanting it in a chicken. So a chicken ended up having scales and another chicken ended up having teeth. So then, along with showing us the real pictures of the experiment, he also showed us what not. So it was a chicken with a Tyrannosaurus Rex head and tiny little Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. So I think it's really just making the classroom really fun and kind of interesting and bringing in all these kind of strange but cool to some people topics into the learning.
Yes, like Kayla was saying, it's important to have like an interesting lesson, except for even if one person thinks it's interesting, to another person it might not be interesting. So really the key, I think, is variation. So if you're doing one type of lesson one day, like with a group project or something, maybe try next week doing an individual project. So that way you don't alienate one certain group of people as by doing just one type of thing. And even though it might not be the favorite of some people at the time, they know, okay, this teacher is going to try to incorporate me in the next thing, and I will do my best in this one so that I can do my best in the next one as well.
So there's a bit of a contract between a teacher and a student, an unspoken contract. That is, you know what? I may not be doing something that exactly works for you right now, but next week I'm going to try something different, and next week I'm going to try something different. And through humor, through use of new and novel and unusual things, through bringing in new concepts, the most recent things that we've been learning, and through continued differentiation, I promise I'll get to you. I'm not always going to do it just one way. Is that kind of what you're feeling? Okay. What other questions might you have for these friends? Please.
I'm a foreign language teacher, and the introverts on the panel, and I want to ask you, if you've ever taken foreign language, you can answer this. How do I effectively get you to do a presentation without scaring the heck out of you? What is the best way that you feel comfortable with showing me that you can present in Spanish?
Yes, talking is just hard, just even if you're an extrovert, but it's important in a foreign language, so I understand that. Sometimes, like my teachers last year, when we needed to talk, we sometimes went outside just like one-on-one with the teacher, and that way we had a conversation, and that was a lot less threatening, I would say, because it's just one-on-one. But also, if you need like a discussion or a discussion, in lieu of a Socratic seminar, I might maybe do like several small circles, because it's much easier to talk in front of 3 other people than 30 other people. So you still get your talking in, except for it's not like, it doesn't feel like it's presentation because it's just like a conversation, you know? But also if you need like a presentation, maybe in small groups again, like if you have like a group of 3 people who present to each other and then the teacher like walks around and listens to it.
And I think we have some other comments down the road, so please feel free to answer if you want to, and then we'll send the mic down here.
Right. So one of the things, if you have to do a presentation in a foreign language, one of the things I know I did last year was I made either a movie or a recorded audio piece that I could just press play. If you need something that's live though, maybe have them create the presentation, do all the visuals, but presenting in front of a whole class is scary, even if it's for extroverts. So maybe, again, just doing it in small groups, maybe of about 5 to 7, so that's not in front of 30, which is scary for anybody.
So one of the things that my Spanish teacher does now is she kind of divides up all the words we have to know in a year for this Spanish test that we have to take at the end of the year. And she divides it up into sections, so we learn each section and then we take a unit test. But she always kind of helps us review, and one of the ways she does it is she types up just like a little story. And some of the words we were learning a couple units ago were like sing and dance. And people were singing and dancing horribly. So what she had us do, it was kind of a presentation in the class. It was more kind of a skit. We all kind of followed along in the story, and then she picked and then we all got to kind of be parts of the story, and we got to act out the skit with the words to make sure we understood. So 2 really goofy kids in my class put on pink wigs, got those plastic microphones with the glitter all over them, got boas, and they paraded around the classroom singing horribly. But they understood the content, so it might not be like an actual presentation, up on the screen. It may just be something as simple as like a play.
So I took German for 3 years out of my 4 high school years, and that was difficult for me, I know, but one of the really nice things that my German teacher did was if we had something that she needed to test us on vocally, she would have us call her number and leave a message, and we would speak into the recording and talk. So that way she could play it back later and listen to it. Or if need be, she could play it as well for the class, so that way it's there for everyone to hear, or just her individually, depending on what we were doing. And I know I did that multiple times with an individual or in a group or with just another person. And that was something really cool for me. I mean, you're able to just talk into a phone naturally, teaching you kind of a more natural skill instead of being up in front of a class nervous. And I really enjoyed that. And just listening to those recordings play back, sometimes that's a little easier as well. And you can listen to yourself and correct yourself as well.
Brilliant. Let's do one last round of applause for our panelists.